Grab your soy-based shake, Wargamers, because today we're going to review 1 hour Skirmish Wargames, fast-play diceless rules for small unit actions from Napoleonics to sci-fi by John Lambshead. And we're going to be reviewing this in the modern YouTube game review style. This book measures approximately 6 inches across by 9 inches high, or if you prefer metric, I believe that's 12 centimeters across by 132,643 centimeters high. My conversion might be wrong. It is about a half an inch thick, and the cover is thick cardstock. It looks like once you read this and put it on your shelf and never think about it again, it will hold up for years and years of non-use. Inside the book, you will find a host of words, it looks like. There are 100 pages, 101 pages, not including several blank pages for notes. There is a page of, there's a title page and dedication, and then there's various chapters. The words in here are arranged into sentences and paragraphs which convey ideas to you. Now, I haven't actually read any of these words, but it looks like a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I am not doing the traditional YouTube thing where I've been paid to say nice things about this, but I'll say them anyway. In addition to the words in the book, there are the cover art is fantastic. Looks like 32 millimeter figures, maybe 25s. Full color cover with some lovely artwork. A couple of filters put on top of it, and then there are some diagrams in here that show things that you can do. Like this one has trees. So, highly recommend this. You should get yourself a copy. Remember, I'm praying for you. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Modernists are dumb. They don't believe in praying for you. So I guess we're going to have to do a proper review of 1 hour Skirmish Wargames. At least those of you that could stomach that 2-minute joke that I just made. This is a companion volume to Neil Thomas's excellent 1 hour Wargames. They're both available through Pen and Sword Press, who is rapidly becoming one of my favorite publishers of miniature wargaming reference materials. As you see, they are, and I will just for a minute, I will point out that these are companion volumes, and they're going to look great on the shelf next to each other. Not a huge consideration, but you know that level of attention to detail is nice to see. Oh, I forgot to mention the binding looks pretty good. I know some people care about that stuff. You're a pretty smart guy. If you're still here, you get the joke, and you're waiting for the proper review. So let's talk about that. Now I gotta warn you. I haven't, full confession, I haven't played a game of this yet. I've just read through the book. It's a nice, fun, breezy read, and I am going to be playing some of these on camera for you eventually. We got a lot to get through now. We got a lot of irons in the fire, as they say. A lot of campaigns to get through. So thanks for your patience as we try one more. I may wind up doing something with the Vendée for this because it'll work perfect. Napoleonics right there. I mean, it's, Vendée is a little before Napoleon, but 10 years. Yeah, what's a decade or two among friends, right? So the actual games that are in here, it's one game, to be honest with you. And the one game that's in here is fairly simple. You can teach it in just a couple of minutes. Interestingly, Mr. Lambshead here, I'm going to assume it's Lambshead and not Lambshead. If I'm wrong, there's a comment section down there. Let me have it. I'm a big boy. He starts with a general introduction, and he actually lays out his design notes first, which is fascinating. I like that. He is nailing his theses to the cathedral door of the hobby and saying, here's what I want to get out of a skirmish wargame. Really like that. I know as I go through the rules in this book where his brain is at, and it lets you kind of get into the right mindset to understand what he's doing. And one of the things that he recommends, or the key to this rule set, what distinguishes it from others, is that you don't use dice, you use cards. And The first thing he does is he lays out, kind of similar to what Neil does. If you've read Neil Thomas's 1 Hour War Games, so look, here's a core set of rules. And then we're going to start tinkering with it. We're going to start adding fun stuff to it to really make this skirmish set, this bland, easy skirmish set, feel like whatever era we're trying to model here, or at least game. Modeling is that's a separate issue, right? I mean, but it should have that historical feel, or sci-fi feel, if you will. And that basic game is pretty simple. So you and I play, and we both have a deck of cards. Now I only have one deck here. It's fine for illustrative purposes. We both turn. Sorry for the noise. Old Soro is popping off. We went ahead and hit the mute button. As I was saying, each player will have a deck of cards. It's the 52 standard deck plus 2 jokers in there. Those jokers are your turn end card. You flip over cards till the joker comes up. Then the turn is over. You move on to a new turn. For initiative, it's very simple. Turn over a card. Oh, this is not a tie because you use the reverse alphabetical order. Spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. So this guy wins. If they're the same, turn over another card. If those cards are the same card, turn over a third card. If you get the same card 3 times in a row, rules as written, pack up the wargaming, put it away, and start trying to develop the probability drive from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That is the kind of nice, amusing aside that Lambshead throws in. I really like that. So once you've established whose turn it is, well, I should say who gets to go first. So in this case, Diamonds gets to go first. So he draws a card, and oh look, it's a queen, which is a 10, jack, queen. That's a 12. So he can take 12 actions, and with 1 action, you can move a guy. With 3 actions, you can move him twice, and with 5, you can move him 3 times. You can shoot. You can melee. You can mount a horse, or dismount, or reload your gun. If you're doing a black powder era, it takes a full action to reload. Use all of your actions for 1 figure, and then move on to the next figure. No bouncing back and forth. When it's time to shoot, same thing. You draw a card, and your opponent draws a card. Your opponent might, now if you have a sniper, you might draw 2 cards and use the best. If your opponent is behind cover, he may draw 2 cards and use the best. In this case, 9 versus 3, you just missed. Likewise, it's his turn, and he attacks you. He's got 7 actions, so he's going to attack you hand to hand. If he's a bruiser, he draws 2 cards and picks the best. Either way, he just beat you. So your card, when you're shot or you lose a melee, with melee, you're done. You're out. Killing blow, goodbye. When you get shot, the figure lays down. We're going to wait, and later on we're going to figure out whether they're a casualty. That's at the end of the turn. If you draw a joker, doesn't matter what you're doing, stop. The turn is over. If you're defending against a shot, congratulations, you just defended. If you're shooting at a guy, he doesn't even have to roll defense. This means whatever you're trying to do ain't getting done. Don't shuffle the cards yet. All right? The nice thing about that, I want to talk about the ramifications. That means turn lengths are random because, remember, there's 2 decks. So there's no telling how many cards you're going to get through. Could be 50 cards, but both decks would have to have both jokers all the way at the bottom. Highly unlikely. Much more likely you're going to get between 5 to 20 cards worth of actions. And who knows how many. I mean, you can run the numbers. I'm not going to do it right now. Sounds kind of boring. That adds some uncertainty, and you better prioritize what you want to do. Do the important things first, because you do not know the hour. It's later than you think. That is a war game reinforcing how you should approach life in general. Go figure. Maybe now you understand why I like this so much and can't wait to actually give this a shot. Moving on, we talked about fighting, we talked about shooting and moving. Now we got to talk about the end of the turn sequence. And this gets a little bit tricky. You got to make sure you do this in the right order, because you need to find out how many of the... Oh, I just went and checked. Like I said, this is important. And Lambshead conveniently doesn't just tell you what to do, he also tells you why to do it in that order. The first thing you do is you check to see if you... So we've got casualties and we've got downed models. Count up the number of casualties you have. You turn over a card, and if this card is higher than the number of casualties you've taken, you get to keep on going. If it's less than the number of casualties, you're done. Your force has a motivation factor. It applies to your force as a whole. Did they have a good breakfast today? Are they nervous? Are they nervous about today's battle? Do they know? It could be an elite force. Doesn't matter. If they know that they're fighting a delaying action or that they are meant to be sacrificed, they might not be eager to do that. So you add that number to this card. So let's say you have a motivated force. Their motivation is 3. As long as you have 7 or fewer casualties, you get to keep fighting. But the minute your casualties exceed this card, so you want to draw low... Do I have that right? I just have to check the book. At any rate, that's the way the morale works. If you are still in the fight, then you go to the models that have been knocked over through missile fire. Right? Remember, melee are completely eliminated. Melee is very deadly. But the guys that are shot and laying down because they might be dead, you flip over a card. If it's black, they get to stand back up. Red means dead, right? The blood, they bled out. Now you remove the models. This is why you have to check the morale first, because you get one more turn. So on the second turn, obviously at the end of the first turn, you don't have any... Well, you only have melee casualties, right? Yeah. Okay, that's team motivation. But what about morale? And that is where leaders come into play. Better leaders will make it more likely that you pass that morale check. Leadership of 1, 2, or 3. 1, they get to draw 1 extra card. So if you don't have any leaders, 1 card is all you get. If you have a very good leader, you can draw 3 cards. And oh, look, right now, I could be, if I had a force motivation of 3, I could be at 16 casualties and still continue the fight. There we go. So that's the basic rules. And he goes through some of the statistics too, which is nice because it tells you why he designed it the way he did. And it helps you understand, I don't know about you, but for me, I really appreciate that kind of insight. So I can think, oh yeah, motivation 3, I need to go card plus motivation, and I need to beat the number of dead guys I got. Let us now turn our attention to the scenarios he presents. So he starts, and he does this chronologically, just like our good buddy old Neil Thomas did in his book. Starting with the Age of Napoleon, the Musket Age, he gives you fine-tuning the rules, telling you how to characterize, how do I put this, how to further add additional rules to give your skirmish the right feel. From looking through this, most of these skirmishes are going to use anywhere from 12 to 24 figures on a side. Looks like it flows pretty good, pretty fast. We're going to find out together as soon as we can. Age of the Musket, basically Napoleonics. I may wind up using this for musketeers. Like I said, maybe use it for the Vendée. The French Revolution should work just fine. In fact, he says, you know, with a little bit of tinkering, you could probably use this for the Wars of the Spanish Succession, or even kind of push it back a little bit further. Might be fun to give this a shot for before that, but really, melee is so deadly, I think that any pre-black powder area you try to use this for, it's going to be over really quick. Rifle era, now we're talking American Civil War, the Northwest Frontier, Zulu Wars. Then we get into the 20th century. So wars within peace. The Free Corps is kind of a late World War I, interwar years. World War II scenarios. It talks about how to use vehicles, how to use armor for vehicles, how to use cannons, enters, and basically crew-served weapons take 2 hits to kill, And when they fire, they can draw 3 cards and affect 3 different figures. Cold War takes us up to the modern era, and then moving on to kind of pulp, fighting dinosaurs and what he calls retro rockets or science fiction. He does include a point system, some advice for a campaign, and then just a couple of other fun, like, time warpy stuff. So very thorough book that covers a wide spread of eras. Each one feels unique. I mean, the rules let you know. Why don't we go ahead and take a quick peek at one of these, shall we? Let's take a look at what we do for, and pretty good research here too, right? So here we have a battle that is Soviets versus Mujahideen. So we are now into the Soviet-Afghan War, and it gives names and characters for each of the leaders. We'll go ahead and count them up. Their motivation is 3. All right, they're pretty confident. We've got 2 leaders and 5 troopers, so that's 7, 8, 9. The 9 guys. So the Soviets have 9 guys. The Mujahideen, they've got an armored car, 2 commanders, and 8 guys. And then he goes through the individual weapons. AK-47s, RPGs. That armored car is not very armored. It's got 1 crew, it can carry 3 passengers. And then, we also have I get it. Okay, we also have another set of Mujahideen. So in addition to this 10 guys, they've got another 8 guys. So you're looking at 12 versus 18. What happens when you're driving on a dirt road or with an ambush? For the modern era, here's a nice graveyard of empires, and we all know that. Boy, wouldn't it be horrible if my country got involved in a decades-long war in Afghanistan? This is why we learn history, people. Pretty basic map, stream-washed road, hill. You got that. Cold War. Special rules. Very similar to World War II from the looks of things. And what else can I tell you? I think that's good. We got all the figures. Obviously, there's no figures required. There's no required manufacturer. Use what you got. Now you know how to play 1-hour Skirmish Wargames. You don't need no fancy dice. Simple deck of cards. Figures, about 20 on a side. Anywhere from 12 to maybe 30. What's not to love? The book cost me, the list price is $23. I don't think I paid that. I think I ordered it from the Jeff Bezos mega emporium of online adventures. And I'm looking forward to giving this a shot. Our next historical scenario will be fought using the 1-hour Skirmish Wargames, but I'm still neck deep in the Black Raven. Look for that one in the next adventure. And until next time, I almost escaped without pointing it out. A special thank you to viewer and commenter Justo Perez. Although with Perez, maybe it's Justo Perez. He's the guy that recommended 1-hour Skirmish Wargames. I'd put off picking up a copy of this because I was afraid 1 hour, man, that's like 3 videos. He said, no, really, it flows really quick. I get through these 1-hour war games in about 20 to 30 minutes. I think I can get through one of these Skirmish Wargames in 20 to 30 minutes, particularly because it is so streamlined, so smooth. Really looking forward to it. Thanks, Justo. Solid recommend. Appreciate it. We'll play some games on camera for you guys later. And until we do, remember, I'm praying for you.